So, the number one thing that we want to look at in money mindset for manifesting, of course, is the level of self-value that we perceive ourselves to have. So, the number one thing that I can always say is that working on my own level of self-value, or even having my clients work on their own level of self-value, is like hands down the number one thing that has always moved the needle from where I was to where I am. So this is the thing that let me go from, charging $100 an hour, $300 an hour to literally selling $50,000 packages. But that happened through a couple of things, right? So it wasn't just that like I wanted this or I wanted that. I had to do the mindset work and I had to do the pieces and I had to have the pieces together. But the thing that really pushed it over the edge, after really working on my own perception of the value that I bring to the world, of the value of my own self-perceived value to be radically high, right? And not in a way of arrogance, but like just a gentle, subtle, strong knowing within myself of healthy esteem, my own healthy esteem. And in that way, I was then able to work with these two dynamics. And I'm sure you've heard of these before because they're not revolutionary and they're not like extraordinarily different from anything you've heard before. But everyone has a minimum and a maximum or a ceiling, right? So everyone has a set point, which is your comfort level. So like whatever you're making right now, whatever your income is right now is your comfort level. And that is your set point. That is your minimum. Most people will always fall back to their minimum when something happens. People don't rise up to their ceiling when something happens. We always fall back to our baselines in all things, in emotions, in energy. And, when we go through a crisis, we fall to our baselines. So it's very important to understand and know your own baselines. But in the case of increasing your income, your baseline is where you're comfortable at. Now, here's the thing where people are always like, but Sherry, I'm not comfortable here. I can't pay my bills, or I don't I have debt, or I have this, or I have that. And look, I've worked with people that were making $30,000 and $50,000 a month, and they still couldn't pay their bills, right? So this is not something that happens only in the lower economic status. And I think that's important to mention. People don't understand that. You can very much be living paycheck to paycheck at 30 and 50K months. 6 figures, I know there are 7-figure business owners I know who are literally living paycheck to paycheck, contract to contract, month to month. It's very slim. But whatever your set point looks like is your level of comfort. Even if you don't find it to be comfortable, your comfort is what you are familiar with, and it's where you are. It's not so much like the level of like, oh, I can relax, I'm comfortable here. This is the space I know the best, and this is the space that I land in. This is the space I've been in for a long time. This is what I understand. This is what I know. This has become who I am. It becomes an identity. So your level of comfort or your set point might not be where you want it to be, and it might be extraordinarily difficult or extraordinarily uncomfortable. There might be great moments of discomfort there, but that doesn't mean it's not your comfort set point. When I say your comfort set point, I mean your subconscious. I mean your habits, your behaviors, your identity, your beliefs, your values. All of the things go to create that set point. So it's important to see where your set point is. And here's the thing, you will only get to the level of income that you can tolerate. And when I teach this, if your set point is here, it's very nice and very comfortable to move up in increments, very, very, very incrementally. And a lot of people can handle that to a certain degree. But at some point, you're going to bump it up against your maximum. And there's only one way to get past that. And that is a drastic overhaul. But what I want to talk about is when you are moving into or moving out of your set point into more income, that is going to be a space that is a little uncomfortable. And you'll only be able to go to the level to which you can tolerate it. And what happens when you go into a place of not tolerating it is you get in that spin cycle. I call self-sabotage the spin cycle because it self-sabotage, like, we don't necessarily want to sabotage ourselves, and there's a lot of like connotation with self-sabotage, but you get in that spin cycle, or you get into the mode of like, you'll find ways to get rid of that money. Like, you'll get right into like having bills, things will break, all kinds of things will happen, and it's the most extraordinary thing, and it's even crazy, and people are like, how does this even happen? It's your mind. Your mind makes all of this happen. So let's say that your income was 100,000, just for the sake of easy numbers, right? Just for the sake of round numbers. So let's say your income is 100,000. And let's say over time you make 110,000, and then 120,000, 130,000. But let's say you never knew anyone that made over 130,000, or somebody made a remark to you about 130,000, or you just had thoughts about 130,000, or it just never even occurred to you that you could ever make 130,000 or more than that, or anything more than that just seemed ridiculous to you. Like, you just didn't even think it was possible. Whatever the case, right? So let's say that you do something and you end up making 150,000. Now, if this is out of the space of your level of comfort for your body, you can guarantee there are going to be bills. You can guarantee you might even lose your job. You can guarantee if it's your business, it could go to trash, like completely flatline. All kinds of things could go wrong. You could quit delivering. You could quit launching, all kinds of things. There are so many things that you will unconsciously do, and subconscious behaviors that will make this happen, and you won't even see it. You'll justify it for something else. You'll validate it for something else. But the fact of the matter is there is a set point of what you can and can't handle, what you are able to tolerate. And so I ask my clients, I'm like, add an extra 10,000 to your income. Can you tolerate that? And the first thing they want to think is, yes, of course I can. So I go 20,000, and you should do this now too, right? So 20,000, can you tolerate that? Feel that in your body. Can you tolerate that in your body? Now add an extra 30,000 to your income. At some point, things might start feeling a little pricky, a little sticky, a little uncomfortable. Add an extra 40,000 to your income. Add an extra 50,000 to your income. Now at this point, this just probably is going to feel more expansive. People might not necessarily know that your income level has changed on an extra 50,000, because a lot of that will go to taxes, and you probably have some debt or different things that you could, pay off, or there are things that you've been meaning to upgrade and get. So 50,000 is still a pretty comfortable place for someone to imagine bringing into their life. But we haven't put that with your entire paycheck. So imagine an extra 100,000 on top of your paycheck. Now we are talking about real money that people are going to notice. Someone's going to notice, most likely, if you have an extra 100,000, that's 8 extra thousand per month coming into your life that you are going to either like upgrade your car, your home, you're going to pay off debt. But let's say even that year, 100,000, you're like, my body is okay with that. I can handle that. Like, get past the excitement and the, relief. Get past that. Because there's a space within you that once you get past the excitement and the illusion of the money, you get into the reality of the money and normalizing and feeling the money. And that's where you'll feel if your body can really take the money. So let's do 150,000 extra dollars, right? Now, for some of you, this will be doubling your income or doubling your business. That's going to make a very marked distinction. You have now gone into a new space. To make $150,000, your thoughts are going to change. Your behaviors are going to change. Your actions are going to change. You're going to develop new tastes. You're going to develop new mannerisms. You're going to develop things that are slightly different, even though you are still the same. At 150,000, people are going to notice because you're definitely getting a new car. You might even be relocating. You might be helping people around you. And someone's going to notice. So sometimes those things are reflected back to us, and that's what bothers us, and that's what stops our income growth, because that's uncomfortable when someone's like, you know, okay, thanks for this gift. It's kind of expensive, like, you know, where you just start buying things and people notice, like all kinds of things happen there. Let's go 200,000 and get past the excitement of it. Who are you with an extra 200,000 on top of your salary? Because for most people, an extra 200,000 out of nowhere will flip them into chaos. Truth be told, 75,000 in 2 weeks when I was working 1 hour a day put me in the spin cycle. And I had already become accustomed to making $50,000 cash. 75,000 just working 1 hour for 2 weeks. That's what threw me for a loop. See, I was comfortable with 50,000 over the course of a month, working full time. But when it got to be too easy, when it got to be too simplified, that's when I threw myself out of peace and into chaos, because that's where I just wasn't comfortable. And a lot of people were like, oh, but that would be, I would be comfortable. No, your ego tells you you would be comfortable, but your ego's job is to keep you safe and familiar. This is why everyone who wins the lottery, like, loses it or does stupid things. This is why people, when they get windfalls or inheritances, they usually have nothing to show for it. So at the point, go through different economic numbers, different financial points on the way to a maximum, and really see what you can tolerate receiving. Because tolerating receiving that into your life is completely different than the wishful thinking of getting it into your life. Those are two different dynamics, two different energies. And if you can allow yourself to take that in, if you can allow yourself to sit with it, if you can allow yourself to really see that, you're going to see, and you'll have the mindset work to do. You're going to see where it's uncomfortable in your body. You're going to feel it. You're going to see the thoughts that come into your mind, like, what do I have to do to make that money? How much work would I have to do? I can't possibly do that much work because I'm already working this much for this little money. Like, there are all kinds of thoughts. And those are the thoughts that you want to capture and examine, because all of them are going to be illusions. All of them are going to be a story that you've created about something that is a reason, that is why it is this way, instead of how it really is. You see, at this point, you're still living under the illusion of your perceptions rather than the clear vision of reality that you could make different assessments about financially in a clear-headed space, right? So when you want your income to go up, you have to work with your set point and then your maximum, what you're willing to tolerate and what you can tolerate. And you do that through mindset. And this is all after you start actually diving into your own level of self-perceived value, which is always the number one thing you want to work on to bring your income up. Never at any point to me, my clients do any work before that. It's always about, okay, so where is your perceived income? Well, you make this much, so that's what you value yourself to be at. So we have to figure out how to bring your value up an extra 50,000, an extra 100,000, an extra 6 figures, an extra 200,000. And that's the work that you need to do. That's the work that there is to do. So if you've enjoyed this, let me know. Once again, this is Sherry Hemstreet of thesherryhemstreet.com. Thank you for being here. I'll see you on the next video.